Hey there, sexy soul. Welcome to Coffee and Tarot. We're going to delve in and see if there is a message for you today. I will warn you, I got a lot of downloads beforehand and a lot of visualizations, so I'm going to go over that first. This is going to be probably a very specific reading, only because they had me focus on shuffling and cleansing very specific decks for this reading. And also, it's gonna get woo-woo. Just gonna tell you, it's gonna get woo-woo. So if that's not your shtick, if you're more practical, this probably isn't gonna be your reading. We're gonna delve into a message about spiritual gifts and abilities, okay? Grab your coffee. Yes, I've been drinking the Love and Fire out of mine. I love me some iced coffee or cold brew or whatever you wanna call it, I don't know. Make it whatever feels right for you. Tea, lemon water, anything. It doesn't really matter. I just want you to cozy up, settle in, and let's see if there's a message here for you today, okay? So to go over the downloads that I got and the visualizations that they were giving me, there's a desire on whoever this is. There is a spiritual gift that's coming in. I kept trying to stretch it and, make it something else, and they're like, no, this is very specifically spiritually based, like coming into your magic or coming into a new ability that you have. I want to say this is something that has been within you, and you may have seen like little bits and pieces of this, but it's never been something very consistent, or that I feel like you felt you were even remotely good at. That it wasn't something that was a part of you, right? And there was this question going on within some of the visions that I was getting of the person. I tap into a person's energy, so sometimes it's almost as if I'm sitting in somebody else's mind, hearing their thoughts, if that makes sense. And so it was really a question of, like, there were questions of, am I influencing the energy and making this happen? Or am I just seeing this happen? So there's a question of, and people may be coming into gifts of premonition, which we talked about in one of the past Coffee and Tarots, but also someone here is in their ability to make things happen, to manifest. So almost with ease, almost like speaking it into existence type of thing. Now, let's not get unrealistic. Obviously, if something is not in the higher good of you or all the others that are involved, there's a high probability that there are going to be things that you cannot manifest. But I think that you're in an energy now where you're not trying to manifest from ego. It is what feels right and true for you. And so I say that because they showed me an image of someone playing a game and being able to almost like predict what was going to happen next within that game. They showed me two different things, like someone playing like a lottery type of game, like, this online, like, oh, you win this, and they're like, I'm going to win a lot this time, and they're like, ding, 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 and it happened, right? And then I also saw someone playing a board game and almost like being able to predict other people's moves, like, oh, this is going to happen, this is going to happen, and it would happen like almost as soon as they called it. And the person was questioning in their mind, there's no way I'm making this happen. And remember, we don't have energetic influence over others necessarily, just of ourselves, but we can align ourselves with situations that are energetically in alignment for us. And so it may come across and feel like we are influencing energies, when really we are just aligning with what is already in alignment with us, if that makes sense. That won't make sense to everybody, but that's okay. For who it is for, it will make sense. And then there is this question of, I feel like you've been in an energy of wanting to open up more to spirit or to gifts, and knowing what your true abilities are and what you come, and this can be talents as well. Like, spiritual gifts are not just like, woo, but it's almost as if, I guess, that you've opened yourself up before, and when you realize or recognized your divinity within, your connection with your higher self, or spirit, we'll say, source, universe, whatever, that was painful. There was a major learning curve, and somebody here is wanting to come into more of that. They're wanting to be more open, but they're like, dampen the sound. They keep wanting it to be like they don't want it to be so loud and so echoey. You know, almost as if they're saying they want it to unfold naturally, almost like it just happens and they don't realize sorry, you know, like they're saying they don't realize, like, whoever this is for, you just don't want it to be like it was before. Like, coming into any type of understanding or getting closer with your spiritual nature has felt very painful before. And you're like, if it just happens, that's okay. Like, you know, if it could just, you know, I come into something and it's like flowy and airy, that's great. But like, I don't want this big disruption in my life in order to open up to something. And but Spirit's saying this is going to be thunderous, and it's like, oh gosh, is this going to be loud? And they're saying, no, it's not thunderous as in disruptive. It's thunderous as in you will not be able to dismiss it. It's going to be so prevalent in your awareness that you're going to constantly be picking up on it. And they're saying this happens, because they're bringing me back to the game, when you're in your most childlike energy. And so you're going to learn how, like, this is like a very, like, not adventurous, but this is like playful. When you're in your playful energy, you tap into this ability more, and it's almost louder, crystal clear, prevalent. And you're going to go through a phase or a period where you actually get to play with this. Like, you're just going to, like, you know, when we talk about knowing and understanding certain things after the healing process, comes a time when you have to walk the talk, where you actually do the things so that you embody that energy, so that it becomes a part of who you are and how you operate naturally. And I feel like this next phase is a time for you to play and get really used to understanding the varying degrees of the energy of playfulness and childlike energy, and how that looks within your life, and when you're in your abilities and your magic, your talents, okay? Because I feel like, again, it was like spurts of this previously up to this point, and now they're like, what does it look like when you're in this for a long-term period? And how, you know, and it's almost like they want you in that energy for a long period, and to play with this and start seeing it very prominent and prevalent within your life, and then almost like you start acting on it and doing intentionally. But this playful childlike energy that you will have with this while you're doing it, it's almost like it's a game. It's not really like you're not putting all your eggs in the basket. You're just witnessing almost this unfold, and it's fun for you. And that's what they really want you to embrace and understand. And I think up to this point, maybe you're not in that energy, and that's a big shift that's going to be happening for you. Because when you do that, there's not this attachment to, oh, if things don't come through exactly as I envisioned, or if I'm trying to manifest this and it doesn't actually come through, I am not suddenly so frustrated that it knocks my energy. So that you're going to have spiritual help staying in this childlike energy and playing with this for a good period of time. I want to say it feels like 3 to 4 months, maybe up to 6 months, where you're going to be starting to notice these things, and you just start doing it and experiencing it. And so the question I had for them, and then when they were like, okay, it's time for the reading, was, so what happens when life happens? When naturally the cycles of life occur, and things can outside influences try to interfere with your internal energy. And I think that, again, that's the point of this phase that you're going to be going into, is to really understand the varying ways and what it means to truly be in childlike energy. It doesn't mean you have to go and do something adventurous to shift your energy. It's something that you can, they want to say you can tap into at any point. But it's what does that actually look like when you get to do that? I feel like you may have felt like up to this point there's been a lot of heavy energy, and so there were so many outward influences that you allowed to interfere with your internal realm. And it's true, it happens. So that's the question. I'm like, okay, so why, you know, like, we're going to expand and find out or ask a little bit more about this, but also, how does this benefit you later on? Like, why are they bringing this to your awareness now, basically? Okay, we're going to start with the Hermetic Tarot. Then we're going to have New Era Elements, Lenormand deck, and the Divine Doors. Those are the ones that they had me focus on primarily when I was shuffling. So they're prepped and ready. Oh, good Lord, you guys. Okay, we're going into, these are books. All right, so I don't know why they're having me do it like this. These are going to stay over here. We've got the Seven of Pentacles, which is all about things finally starting off, seeing evidence of something within your life. And Fortitude is the strength that it took, the perseverance and the adherence to this process in order to begin to see something coming to fruition. Seeing something break ground is what they're saying. And then we have the Five of Cups, which is the energy of experiencing, being in that sense of failure is what I'm getting. Loss of pleasure is what it says down here, the Lord of loss of pleasure. And so I feel like this has been really what the energy, I feel like this is the past. Even when you have been, I feel like, I know I say I feel like a lot because I'm feeling the energies, guys. So when I say that I am interpreting the energy that I am in right now. And it is literally about persevering, even though you feel like you haven't really been in a pleasure state, which we talked about, which in the download, it was like, it's a sense of that you've been in a very either stagnant or lull energy as of late. And so this whole new phase of childlike and playfulness, it's the beginning of that. Okay, something is breaking ground because during all of this lack of excitement within your life, because it doesn't necessarily have to be that you were in a phase where things were going bad. I feel like this was the phase after shit went and hit the fan. Okay, so you were almost kind of like at a standstill. You were mourning what happened, not yet ready to move on. And now they're saying out of this comes something new. So you really persevered during this phase when seemingly all you had was to be able to focus on what had been, because nothing good came in to focus on. So it's almost as if that there was that reevaluation period, and then almost just sitting with the fact that things hadn't popped off. I'm just gonna be honest with you, and things weren't really going great and you weren't really feeling it. But something's breaking ground now. Okay, Seven of Pentacles. That was actually a period of time where some seeds were planted. Okay, over here we've got the Ten of Swords, which means so the burden of all of that is really going to, it's ending. Ten of Swords is always about going into the new truth, the new path. The Ace of Swords, you know, it's a cycle. Tarot is a cycle. So you are going into a brand new cycle here. And it's getting rid of, I feel like you sat for quite some time with how things ended to get rid of all the negativity that you had in your mind. So if you were to look back on some of the losses or the lack of pleasure that you've had, there is a very neutral energy about that now. The mind doesn't spin its wheels over that anymore. It's almost as if you purged those negative thoughts. So the worst of it's over. Like, you're not anxiety ridden over what has or hasn't occurred. And you're not allowing it to plague yourself. You're not allowing it to stress you anymore. You're just kind of in a very neutral energy. And this is where you can manifest from. We've got the Magician card, which is all about, okay, now that you're in the right energy, this is where things can develop. Where you can manifest and make things happen. And it's almost as if one, having gotten rid of all of the egoic response to everything that has occurred, and just knowing and understanding it as it is, created a fertile ground for things to start. But it's also that time period where you weren't in the negative anymore, but you also weren't experiencing any pleasure. That very neutral energy that you've been in here recently was to fortify something. And again, we got the fortitude here, and that's what that's saying. It has strengthened you. We got the Lord of Great Strength. This is the Nine of Wands. This is really about being able to, being so solidly in your energy and knowing your desires and knowing how to master your energy and how to protect that. This is very positively aspected for me. One, because we're exiting out of this particular cycle, the Ten of Swords, and you have this Magician card, which is about manifesting something new, and you needed this wherewithal, is what they're saying, and this sense of inner confidence and strength, this unmovable. It's almost like you're so grounded and planted within your own energy and your truth and your power. You won't hand it away anymore, okay? All right. It all makes sense in the end. So now that we've got those, we're going to put these over here. Move my coffee out of the way. All right, so now we've got the Knight of Swords. The Hermit. Yeah, stark contrast and change, okay? You've been in the hermit mode. You created this sense of power within yourself that is unmovable now. Level of confidence. And that came from being in this very stagnant, stale, neutral energy where you were in the hermit mode, okay? You went in and you honed your truth, and you stand very strong within that now. You don't question it. We're at the Ten of Swords. We're going to the Ace of Swords, which is your truth. So there's no more fighting this. There's no more stress or anxiety about this. Sorry, you're going to hear children coming and going. Shut the door, buddy. Sorry. Little ones at home, no school. It's just going to happen. And the room I'm in has a bathroom, so I guess he felt like that was going to be... Anyways, Knight of Swords is that 180, a stark change, a pivot in your path, life pivoting, okay? You're not going to be in this any longer. You know what your truth is, and it's guiding you. You don't have to be in hermit mode anymore. And then we have the Four of Wands and the Queen of Swords. Your discernment is on point. Again, you're in this energy where what you know and understand is so fortified. There's a stability within what you desire and what you're going to be going for and actioning that. There's just no more question. I feel like you are in an energy of no more questioning and being worried about it. Your foundation that you have within your ability to discern and see things clearly and see the greater picture and execute accordingly is phenomenal now. Let's find out more about this. Shut the door, buddy. Thank you, baby. Let's see how long this is going. Okay, we've got time. I'm making sure that I'm making good time on this reading. We will get to how this plays out into this next phase. Are these gifts? How does this? Yeah, because of where you're coming from, and I know that you're doubting. I feel like you are like, it's not even doubt. I'm going to rephrase that. It's a little more like, okay, you are so entrenched in this neutral energy. It's almost as if you're not going to get up in arms about whether this comes to pass or not. I'm just going to be, you're just like, okay. Because you are at this place, because you are now in the Magician energy, and things are going to start to break ground, it's going to move forward with a lot of momentum. That's the whole point of the Four of Wands. You are stable in what you want and what you desire. There's a solid foundation within your energy and your life force. The Wands are all about your life force. You know your power, your strength, and what you want, and you will protect that at all costs. There's no more wavering on this. And from that, you're able to see things with more discernment and clarity. And the Chariot is all about everything being in alignment with one another. You can't move forward if the engine itself isn't working, if components of the engine aren't working. There's a tank on this one. In traditional tarot, you have the two sphinxes. If they're not on the same page, everything's in alignment for you to move forward. And it creates such a momentum that there's no stopping you now. Okay, so I feel like that was talking about the past, and they're like, now this is going to move you forward. How's this going to, okay. Yeah, I want to say that the Lover's card is all about, and these are major arcana, I'm just pointing this out. Everything's in union. That just echoes it. Everything's in union. Because Lover's card is all about that partnership and the reciprocity. It doesn't have to be something external to you. Okay. Now that everything's in union, brand new. Okay, we're playing Captain Obvious right now, and I'm not understanding where Spirit's going with this, but they're literally echoing. Okay? You were stuck. You had to work through some things, like attachments that you had. The Devil card is those attachments that, you know, illusions. About some disappointments that you've had. This is the Five of Cups. In this particular deck, New Era Elements, disappointment is the Five of Cups. It is feeling lack without the drought. And then also the Four of Cups. So withholding. Nothing felt, which again, loss of pleasure, Five of Cups. Nothing felt exciting. It was a very neutral energy. There was a lack of pleasure in your life, and you just withheld. You held back, okay? In traditional Four of Cups, there's 3 cups that you normally would have indulged in. And even if Spirit was, you felt like Spirit was guiding you towards something, you withheld from that as well. Because usually in the Four of Cups, there's a cup coming out from the clouds where Spirit's like, what about this one? And you were like, no, because you had to work through some energies, okay? And almost like purge and get rid of those types of attachments to the loss or to things not having turned out. And that's really where this, you know, it's a stark contrast is what they're showing me. When we talk about the Knight of Swords, where it's like a pivot change, it is a, like a 180. It is a complete, utter change in trajectory. This is where you were, and this is where you're going. This momentum and life force that is pushing you, because things are in union and you are beginning to feel in alignment, starts this new path. But why are we reiterating this, Spirit? Can you give us something new? Why are we reiterating this? And how does this come in with the new gifts? All right, guys. We're doing this. We're doing this. So this pivot, this change, the Knight of Swords that you're going to be encountering, where there's this new beginning, it's your approach to life in and of itself is going to be different, because we have the Daughter of Fire, which is the Page of Wands, which is that spark, like feeling alive again, which is that childlike energy, that playfulness, that feeling wanting to be engaged in life and being a part of life, like actually experiencing it. I feel like you're going to feel invigorated again. You're going to feel more passionate desires. I feel like you didn't even really, with Comfort card over here, the Four of Cups, you weren't engaging in any of that. No sense of joy. Remember, loss of pleasure, very neutral energy. And the Hanged Man is all about having that different perspective. You're going to be entering into this with a completely new perspective. And the stark contrast is going to be the Three of Cups. Feeling more social, getting out, enjoying yourself, because that's really what it is about. It's that community type card. It's connecting with others and feeling joy again within your life. The Five of Wands is like kind of like that preparation, feeling like there's so many things that you are being drawn to, that desires are competing, because the Wand suit is all about your desires again. Remember, it is what you want and desire, and it's like there's going to be a lot. You go from nothing to feeling drawn to a lot of things. It might feel a little bit chaotic at first with the way that the energy is going to change, because the Wand suit is always like, the training period, in traditional tarot, they're fighting with sticks. There's not really there's nothing bad that's happening. And a lot of people interpret it as just needing to, that's like the mediation card, like conflicting and competing desires and really needing to hone in on what it is that you genuinely want. There could be, for some, love that's going to be coming in. And that might be the piece that ignites the childlike energy. Almost as if, and I know that you've heard a lot of other readers talk about this before. I've heard some readings before where it's like a person comes in and almost like pushes the ignition button on you. Like the purpose of them coming in at this time is to help shift the energy that you're in. Because there's so many different ways that Spirit can do this, right? And anytime we get into a new relationship or find somebody that really lights us up, we start to take that spills over into other parts of our life. And there's so many ways that Spirit can bring help to shift our energy. So you may be hesitant to the idea and notion that a person is going to come into your life and help to shift this, but their presence really ignites something within you. And we all do that to one another, okay? We all have someone that has touched us, and we have touched them in some capacity to help bring about a new understanding or awareness or a shift in their energy. We are here to help walk each other home, okay? So don't get like too... My nose is itching crazily. So there may be love that's coming in, because we have two now. We have the Lover's card, which there's an internal union that has happened. But I also feel like there's a lot of joy that's coming into your life. It's going to bring about a lot of victory. So something is going to come into your life. We'll say for a lot of people, it's going to be a person. It's going to be love. It's going to be a romantic partnership. And it ignites a lot of hope and childlike play. Because when you enter into a new relationship, there's a lot of like playful flirtiness and energy like that imbued, right? But even if it's not a relationship, guys, it's some kind of scenario situation that triggers. It's something that you're going to feel connected to, that you feel really good about. And the conflicting desires may be that you're like, I feel like it is the idea that if there's a person that comes in, that why is it this situation that suddenly changes things? So, yeah. And it may be something that you weren't anticipating at this point in time. Let's just put it that way. But it brings a lot of joy, a lot of abundance. It's almost like victory, success card, the Six of Wands. It's like a domino effect. Because I feel like a lot of opportunities open up to you. You got the universe. A lot opens up. But I think that this coming in at this point is like the trigger point. So you're going to be going into a lot of and this person or situation is what ignites you being in the energy of being able to manifest things, to step into this gift more clearly and prominently. Let's pull, because I want Lenormand also, and I want to make sure that I pull everything out. But it almost opens the door for everything else that's been waiting to come in Four of Cups to start. It's just this shift. Like at any given point, like the particular timeline you're on, this is the way that it's panning out, okay? This other person isn't the reason that this phase is starting. It's what you've done up to this point. And I think that is the biggest piece that you need to understand. It's what you've done up to this point to prepare yourself energetically and to let go of those other things and to be in this manifesting energy and to no longer have these attachments. You will see things breaking ground now. There will be movement forward. And this thing you are completely in alignment with will begin to ignite that. It's a person. For some people, it's a situation. But it is going to be something that you're going to love. And it's going to shift you into joy and passion. Your passions will be ignited again. Ooh. Okay. These flew over here and this was over here. So let's just take a look at that. And we're going to honor what came out. Ring, which is all about commitment. Path is all about like a crossroads, changing paths. My nose is holy moly. Let's see if we also can get timing. So I feel like there's so much stability to be had in something that may seem like I don't want to feel like too big for you. Like maybe this is too much, too soon. And the Path card is also about long-term. So we're talking about long-term commitment coming in. Whatever this is, the trajectory changes so much. It's a 180, and it's something that's going to have longevity within your life. For the vast majority of you, I do feel like it's going to be a person. I'm going with like 70%. There's 30% of you, and this person may not be a romantic partner, but they are going to be the piece that kind of ignites things, okay? There is stability to be had. This feels very large. So the tree can be about like health issues and things like that. But it's also about being really grounded down into something and the roots. This thing will have roots to grow. It has so much stability, and they're also bringing in something about distance. Path card can also be about distance, and the Mountain card can be about distance. Let's find out. Whatever this is going to go to the distance, and it will have an immense amount of stability. It'll be a very permanent fixture with. Let's get some more information. I want to know more about this gift or ability. I think they wanted to give me that in the beginning so that you would understand what's about to happen, because I feel resistance from some of you all, almost as if like you want to do it on your own. You don't want something coming in being able to take credit for. Like you feel like this message is telling you whatever this is, person or situation, is coming in, and it's because of them that all these great things happen, and it's not. They are the trigger point. You know, if you have all the kindling and the logs and lighter fluid and everything else like that, you know, like having a match alone is not going to create a bonfire. You need all of that stuff, all the other things, all the other components to it, in order for something to ignite, okay? And so it's like with a rocket. They're giving me the sense of a rocket. A rocket ship has an ignition switch, but that ignition switch ain't gonna do shit unless that rocket that has so much components and work and preparation and expertise within it, like there's so much that goes into it. Ignition switch alone, it's what sets off and propels out all the things that people have worked on to build that rocket for years. That's the thing that helps to set it off. But in and of itself, the ignition switch isn't the thing that gets to have the credit. It's all those who built that rocket and the astronauts that navigate it, and you know, all those kinds of things. So they're saying don't allow that to be the heavy, to be your focus. Let's put it that way, okay? And I feel like once this does come in all honesty, you may have those thoughts, but the joy is going to feel so good, and it's such a stark contrast, which is probably why they left you in this energy for some time, this neutral energy, so you wouldn't say no to this when it came in, so you would just enjoy. You had to get rid of all those negative thoughts, all those, that Ten of Swords over here, the things that would have held you back. You're no longer tied into any past failures, or even overanalyzing the lack of pleasure that was coming in. You just allowed it, and it shifted your mindset, the way that you see things, the Hanged Man, right? So yeah. And then we have this, this is recognition and also being like guided to something. And then we have Man with a heart. And on the bottom of the deck, we have the Messenger. We're going to pull this with Brand New. Okay. I don't know why I don't usually normally pull from the bottom of the deck like this, back to back to back. But this is like something, you being guided to something, and something being guided to you. It is a person. It is a person. I'm sorry. There's a person that's going to play an important factor. They're coming in. Messenger is all about either someone entering your life, or you going to someplace, okay, which again may play into the place at a distance. I am feeling, but there's a sense of longevity, and it's brand new. Let's figure out what this is. You're worried. Okay, oh God, we're just going to be pulling this. Snake, I think this is what you're worried about. See, contemplative, worrying about something not being what it is, or what you normally would have worried about. But this is really lucky. I think that you're so used to being in a solitary energy, that hermit mode, and they just want you to know that this is going to be very beneficial, very beneficial. Anything else, Spirit? Anything else, Spirit? And being in this new phase and this energy is going to open you up to more gifts. It's just about the energy shift. It's propelling you forward. Any new phase can be started by any one thing. Don't get caught up on how it starts. Yeah, this need to be alone and solitary is ending. Just your solitary energy is ending. This is a lucky phase. Don't worry about this. This is going to be beautiful. All right, and we're going to pull from the Divine Doors really quick and close this out. I feel a lot of people going, huh? And what I really like is I feel like some people are like, okay. And they're not really, but it's almost like that's a good sign. When you're so detached that this message is not riling you up, even though I think that there's some of you that are like, yeah, I'll believe it when I see it. I don't feel people are getting riled up by this, but they're just also like, that don't make no sense. Like, why would? And so if you were questioning why you had to be in this drought for so long, it was to get rid of all those extra thoughts that your ego kept wanting to plaster, the stories that your ego wanted to plaster, and those the way that your mind wanted to frame things. You got so rid of that now there's such a lack of detachment to, you're just like, okay, you're so in the flow because of that. This is where you needed to be. All right, Sunset. Time here turns to release and unfurl. Old cords of pain fade as the sun's light burn. So there's a release of these fibers and fabrics in your energy that held on to pain. Take in the beauty of country lands and botany. Explore the wonder like a gypsy traveler's odyssey. I think you're more open to things. You're open to exploring things. You're surrendering to the flow of just how it happens. Your mind is not crippled anymore or running the show. Intuition has wandered and led you astray. The timing's not yours, but the universe at play. I just feel like this is really talking about you were resistant there for a while, being in that drought, being in the neutral energy. It wasn't even a drought because it wasn't painful, but it wasn't pleasurable either. It just was. And you were really resistant to that. And so you felt like you were out of touch. that your intuition had lied to you maybe. But they're saying that's not the truth. It's just that the timing was really important and some things needed to happen. All right, hope this was beneficial. That was a lot of information. You may need to rewatch this video again, but thank you for joining, and I will see you all again next week.